Florida State takes on the Duke Blue Devils this Saturday at Doak Campbell Stadium, finally for a top 25 matchup, primetime kickoff like we were all hoping. Obviously, this game doesn't quite have the luster it would if Duke was still undefeated heading into this game. We'd probably be talking about them being ranked somewhere in the top 9 to 12 range, but still a very solid Duke team regardless. They play very physical, they're coached very well, they have a pretty good defense, and especially with Riley Leonard at quarterback, they can make some plays on offense. Leonard was hurt in the final series against Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. It was a high ankle sprain, and those are actually notoriously difficult injuries to overcome, and they're pretty easy to re-aggravate. The big storyline here in this one is whether or not Riley Leonard will be available and ready to go for this matchup this weekend. Their coach has expressed some optimism there, and it makes it seem like there's at least a semi-decent chance he could play. Now, personally, I feel like that's more posturing than anything. Keeping everything close to the vest, but I don't feel like he'll play in this game, and even if he does, I highly, highly doubt he'll be 100%. Now, Riley Leonard is a good quarterback. He has a good arm, he can make some throws, but one of the biggest aspects of his game is his running ability. He's a really good runner when flushed out of the pocket, and that poses a problem for an FSU team that tends to struggle with mobile quarterbacks. But of course, that's with him being 100%. And if he's not, I don't know how much running he'll be able to do just a couple weeks after a high ankle injury. If you're Mike Elko, I don't know how you could realistically try to trot Leonard out there if he isn't 100% healthy. And even then, I just don't see how he could be. Duke's a good team, and obviously anything can happen in college football, but Florida State should win this game regardless of if he plays or not. I don't know that it's worth sending him out there against Jared Verse and a very good defensive line for FSU, and potentially risk burning him for the entire season. Especially because even if Duke does lose this game to FSU, they could still win out and have a shot at the ACC championship game, which will almost certainly be against Florida State as well. Obviously, I'm not a coach, and that's why those guys make the big money they do. But if it were up to me, as much as I would hate it in his position, I'm sitting Riley Leonard, and I'm trying to let him get fully healthy before I go play Louisville, Wake, and UNC these next few weeks. Like I said, right now it seems like it'll be Florida State versus North Carolina in the conference championship game. But if Duke could go out there and get through their stretch of conference play, including beating North Carolina, they could very well get a rematch in Charlotte against Florida State, in which you'll need your NFL-level quarterback to be healthy for. Now, nonetheless, Duke was still able to beat NC State last week with their backup QB, but that kid only completed 4 passes for just over 100 yards. Most of that offensive production was from the running backs, and luckily Florida State has a very stout run defense. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick second and ask that you're enjoying the video, you like talking Florida State football. Consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and word has it, every time you subscribe, a Miami fan cries. Just what I heard. Let's get back to the video. Now on that note, Duke's defense is pretty good. They rank 16th in the country in total defense, and no team has scored over 21 on them. And that was in their one loss to Notre Dame. Now, it's worth noting that they haven't exactly played a ton of elite offenses either. Lafayette, Northwestern, UConn, so not top-tier offenses here. But they definitely have some room to pose some challenges on defense, especially if Florida State's offensive line isn't 100% healthy. Now, I still think Florida State's offense will have success in this game. I know Duke got a lot of attention to start the season after beating Clemson in Week 1, and for sure, that's a good win. But what gets lost in that final score of that game is that Clemson outgained Duke yardage-wise and had more time of possession. Clemson had over 200 yards rushing and over 200 yards passing. That game was just lost by the turnovers by Clemson, who had 2 lost fumbles and 1 interception. Most of, if not all of those, I think, came in the red zone. So Clemson was able to move the ball and march down the field, find some success on offense. They just shot themselves in the foot before they could finish the drives. And Duke's defense was able to take advantage of that. Now, for starters, Florida State's offense is much better than Clemson's. And granted, we've had struggles here and there, but one thing Jordan Travis and Florida State hasn't done, knock on wood, is turn the ball over. Jordan Travis only has 1 pick on the season, and even that came in kind of a fluky play against LSU in Week 1. Since then, they've really taken care of the football and are one of the top red zone offenses in the country. That being said, I think Florida State will be able to move the ball, but I also think they'll be able to finish drives and get points. Now, regardless, it's going to be a really good matchup, a really good game. I was hoping to be able to get tickets, but they sold out before I could get them. If Riley Leonard plays and is anything like his normal self, it could actually be a really good game. But I do expect Florida State's talent advantage to show itself here, and I think even if there's some adversity in this game, Florida State will be able to kind of lean on their playmakers the same way they have all season. If Leonard doesn't play, I think this one could actually get out of hand a little bit with Florida State winning big. It just kind of depends on how it all shakes out. For a final score prediction, I'll say Florida State wins in the neighborhood 41-13 if Leonard's out. If he plays, I'd say maybe more in the neighborhood of 38-21. Take a few points away from us, give it to them. But either way, I do have FSU beating Duke, tacking on another ranked win and improving to 7-0 on the season. I do think Duke is a very solid team, especially when they're fully healthy. And obviously, if Florida State comes out flat, they've shown they can exploit that. I just think Florida State is finally hitting their stride and improving on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And I think if we see that continue on the field Saturday, Duke has never beat Florida State, and I don't see that changing this weekend. I have Florida State winning comfortably to semi-comfortably. Good to be playing in primetime slot again. Gotta love having Herbie and Chris Fowler on the call. Yet another sold-out game for Florida State. Definitely excited for this one. But let me know what you guys think. Should we be more worried about Duke? Let me know your thoughts and final score predictions in the comments below, and let's talk Noles.